Hello, all you hardcores out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, and still the biggest gob in boxing. We're just waiting for Bob to hook us on. Here he is. Here's Bob from Canada's Boxing Channel. How are you doing, Bob?
Good, thank you, mate. How's it going with you?
I'm all right. Well, the man's piped up, hasn't he? John Fury.
I don't know if you've had a chance to have a look at my very
Yeah, I've
sarcastic
seen
take
it.
on it.
I've seen it, mate. I've seen it.
And
Uh,
what did you think?
well, I mean, if it were going to be an hand injury, it'd be the third worst one ever in the world, wouldn't it? Hey?
Yeah. Um, I mean, I had a giggle when I saw it. That's why I couldn't resist doing a highly sarcastic take on the whole thing. Hopefully, the Fury fanboys will understand that I'm just having fun with the whole thing because you have to have fun with it, otherwise you cry, right?
Yeah, but Fury's he's out his mind score how he scored them fights, isn't he?
Well, I mean, it's those mushrooms that you can find in Morecambe, right? They're hallucinogenic. He's deluded the poor boy.
What do you think of his criticism of Sugar Hill and the team all around Tyson?
Well, it was interesting. He's surrounded by pretenders and cowboys, and he actually called um, Sugar Hill Stewart, incapable, right? Like he was very directly and very highly critical. Um, Very interesting. I mean, if you look at everybody who was in Tyson Fury's corner, I mean, you've got Sugar Hill Stewart, of course, but you've also got Andy Lee, a former world champion and a trainer of some renown himself. So yeah, Big John was certainly taking the shotgun to the family gathering there, and he was taking no prisoners. I would imagine that the next family gathering, be it a Thanksgiving or whenever, it's going to be a little bit awkward, shall we say?
Yeah, do you think Big John might be on outside looking in now?
Yeah, I mean, okay, my own entirely speculative take on this, okay, with no evidence whatsoever, is that after the first Fury fight, some sort of rift took place. Either he was told he wasn't welcome in Saudi, or he was told internally by the team, like, you've gone too far. So he's now outside and he's peeing into the tent, right?
Yeah.
Um, I got the sense, and this is, of course, I mean, I don't know the man, right? I got the sense that he's pretty bitter and he's pretty choked. So he's blaming everybody around Tyson other than Tyson because Tyson has to be his meal ticket, even though apparently he never makes a penny. He's apparently a pauper. And as I said in my take, I would like to swap bank balances because his level of pauperism is something to which I aspire.
Yeah, he's he's a one-off in a Big John.
Thankfully, yes. Thankfully, there are not packs of them because humanity would be in more danger than it is were there multiples of him. So
Yeah.
hopefully, he is the entirely unique sui generis or whatever that funny expression is. He is the one.
Yeah, he's the one that just keeps giving in a Big John. He lives off the land, you know, Bob.
Oh, is that right? He's out in where would that be? Like Greater Lancashire, living and hunting and living off feral kills and stuff, like avoiding supermarkets and other such things. He's purely a traveling man in touch with his cultural heritage. Is that right?
Well, he'll have us believe that, but I don't believe a word that comes out his pie hole, me, to be honest. I mean,
I
how he saved Tyson with his advice after round nine, I don't know, because he were gone after eight. So I don't know where he was looking at from then. He were hanging on
wow.
for dear life.
I mean, according to Big John, Tyson was, romping home. Like the first 7 or 8 rounds were all Tyson. And unfortunately, the trainer gave his son the wrong advice. He moved left with a southpaw. Um, I always thought that you were supposed to move bidirectionally, so avoid a pattern. But hey, what do I know? Um, um, and of course, Tyson was also overtrained. Who knew?
Overtrained. There's no such thing as overtrained. You're either fit or you're not. A week before
Well,
the fight, he'll rest up for that week before the fight.
well, I thought it was funny because if you're saying that Tyson Fury was put through too much by having those back-to-back training camps, what about the poor middleweight he fought? Did he not have back-to-back training camps as well?
Well, what about the back fat on Tyson if he were overtrained? He looked like he were carrying a tractor tire around his belly.
Well, let's think about this, okay? So Tyson is overtrained, but in the same breath, his his um his people do not work him hard enough. So, like, how you can merge those two statements, which are mutually exclusive, I don't understand. Maybe you can help me out here. Like, how can he be overtrained and yet his training team don't work him hard enough? Like, they're supposed to work him like a rented mule or red-haired stepchild, but yet he's overtrained. I'm something is not computing with me here.
Do you think the rumor doing the rounds, Joshua and Fury, could be announced soon, Bob?
Oh, I mean, honestly, Ross, probably like you. I mean, it's sort of it's like your mom's serving you leftovers from 2 days ago. It's like, oh, really? This is a bit, I'm kind of tired of seeing it on my plate. I, your guess is as good as mine. Um, and even if they announce something, will it happen? I don't know. I would like to see the fight take place just so that we can just draw a line under it. But as you and I have said before, I mean, this is what, 7 or 8 years too late. I mean, if they'd fought in, say, 2018 and they'd had a rematch in, say, 2021, and now we were looking for the trilogy, we might be more excited. But this is this is very stale, isn't it?
It's overkill on a massive scale, and all involved should be embarrassed because it's took shine off it, really. They could have really given us two men undefeated, couldn't they, going at it?
Yeah.
Like, say, with
And
Wilder Joshua.
yeah, I mean, I think there's enough blame to go around. But generally speaking, I think that AJ was keener to have the fight than Fury was. I'm not saying AJ is without blame here. I'm not sort of shining AJ's shoes, but I do think that AJ was keener, generally speaking, to get the fight on. I think Tyson Fury has shown us with the way he dragged his heels over Usyk that he was never keen to take on somebody who might be able to hurt him.
Yeah. I never thought Fury wanted the Usyk fight from day one anyway, because I think he knew he was a serious guy, Usyk.
Oh yeah, I think he would have had it not been for Turkey Al Sheikh dropping a large check. I don't think we would have ever seen Fury Usyk. I think there was too much risk for Fury, and I think Fury, for all Fury's faults, he understands boxing and he understands the quality of an opponent. I think he knew from the get-go that Usyk would be a hard night's work from him for him.
Ask Johnny Nelson and Froch and all that Sky lot when they went over to Alps and Usyk going for Olympics. He sparred Vladimir and beat him up in front of all
Yeah,
Sky lot.
yeah,
Beat him up, but they were like, "Who's this guy here?" And they were like, "This guy's going for heavyweight gold medal. The one below super heavyweight."
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
for
Usyk,
sure.
and he was setting about Vladimir for
Yeah, oh, I
rounds
can
in
believe it.
sparring for a good few rounds.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at the way he set about Fury in round nine, which is my favorite round in recent history. Like you can see it, right? Usyk is quite prepared to go after a man bigger than him.
You know what, right? What amazes me is he like I'm mesmerized by me what he does, how he breaks them down. Are you? I think it's
Hmm.
amazing what he does to them.
Yeah, like he outworks them, he outthinks them,
Yeah, he
and he
has them.
takes
They're
them.
having fits, aren't they? Trying to think what's happening next.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Because
look
he
at
doesn't leave him
dubious.
alone, Bob, does he? He doesn't leave him alone, his opponents, whether he's feinting or touching
Yeah,
him up or changing angles. He's proper coming at him, isn't
look at dubious Dubois in the first fight. I mean, he was mentally exhausted. Like he just did not know what was happening to him. And even though he threw, was it 20 something low blows and tried to cheat his way to victory, he lost every minute of every round. And at the end of the piece, he just, his brain fried and he couldn't continue because he was just mentally overwhelmed by a guy who was just too much for him in every regard.
he? Yeah, yeah, he were way too much
Hopefully,
for him. He had too much fitness for him as well, but he had too much know-how, didn't he? Too much
yeah,
skill.
yeah. I mean, that's how he was able to stop him off a jab. It wasn't that the jab was especially hard or that Dubois was somehow thin-skulled in that particular moment. It was just, I think Dubois said some version of "F this. I can't deal with this," and had essentially some sort of, you know, mental collapse kind of thing, for want of a better expression. He just sort of spazzed out.
Yeah, yeah, it's a shame. From
But
that end of the
no,
spec,
it's not a shame. It's not a shame. Yeah,
it's a
I want
shame
to
for
see it happen
Dubois. It's a
again.
shame for Dubois, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to agree with you on it was a shame that he beat Dubois. I was
Oh
cheering for him
no,
to
no.
beat Dubois from the get-go.
He made him quit, didn't he? But obviously,
Yeah, no, exactly.
you said your bit about George Fox, didn't you? He didn't show
Oh,
much class, did he?
no, I mean, as you know, George Fox is he's I'm not on George Fox's Christmas card list, that's for sure. Um, I yeah, what can one say about George Fox? I'm looking forward to whoever he fights. TBA, I will be cheering for TBA.
Well, yeah,
Um, I'd like to see the British Boxing Board of Control sanction him. As a license holder, he brought the sport into disrepute. Um, but that'll never happen. I know it's fantasy. I may as well shut up about that.
yeah. Okay, went from one end of the spectrum to Elmer Fudd versus the Lazy Rhino. We've seen the Rhino do a load of podcasts and videos. He's everywhere. We're not seeing much from Elmer, are we?
No, I suspect Elmer's training hard, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um, I did watch that show where they put their cards on the table. I did a short video about it. I thought that Dave Allen psychologically had the edge there, being an older, more experienced guy, sort of patronizing, but not really. Um, to be perfectly honest with you, Russ, I would love to see Dave Allen win the rematch. I believe he won the first fight. But I suspect that Johnny Fisher, and I love that name, Elmer Fudd, by the way. I suspect that Johnny Fisher is training like a Trojan right now. And I suspect that Johnny Fisher might turn up as a much fitter, more well trained creature than he was first time round. As for Dave Allen, he's his own worst enemy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
It's
up
almost
all
like
night doing podcasts and messing about and that. It's not, I don't think it's good. You need to switch off when you're a boxer, don't you?
I would imagine so. Obviously I've never been a boxer, but I would imagine this is one of those times where Dave Allen should be locking himself away and spending time with his coach and his training people. Not necessarily focusing on building up his social media presence. But good luck to him. I do like Dave Allen. I sympathize with him, maybe. Like he's always like perennial sort of underdog and all that. Like he's conned me, maybe. But I have a soft spot for Dave Allen. I hope he does well.
Yeah, I do. I do. I'm swaying towards an Elmer victory on points though at the moment with how I'm looking at it.
Yeah. Um, I think there's a number of things going on. I think that, I mean, I don't trust officiating very much anymore, to be perfectly frank with you. So, uh, if there's any sort of doubt, I suspect that benefit of the doubts will go to Johnny Fisher. But really, I think that Johnny Fisher will be will be training hard. Like this is a must-win fight for him. Where I think Dave Allen, I mean, I get the sense, and I'm probably wrong, but it's just a sense I get as a fan, where if he loses, he'll go, "Oh well, I'm always a victim. People are always again, it's okay. It is what it is. He's still my pal," and not really care about it. That's the sense I get. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think Dave Allen's got the devil in him, has he?
No, I think he would rather get the sympathy of all the fans who think he's been poorly done by than have the win and have the applause of the fans. Does that make sense?
It's a strange one, isn't it? It's a strange
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Who knows? I mean, like I say, it's hard to get in someone's head, but he does strike me as a guy who is sort of like, oh, woe is me, and he wants the sympathy rather than look at me, I just kicked this guy's ass and I want your applause.
Yeah. What did you think to Tim Bradley's criticism of that show overnight?
Of the weekend, that disastrous Fatal Fury card.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, it was atrocious, Russ.
I know.
You've got 50% of the top names in America fighting. When I say America, I'm including Mexico, right?
Yeah,
Um, and they broke records. It was the lowest punches thrown, followed by the lowest punches thrown, followed by the lowest punches thrown. Like that, they were they were atrocious. Dan Raphael has spoken about it. Virtually every commentator has spoken about it. And honestly, if I was Turkey Al Sheikh, who had splashed out the money on this event, I would be very, very pissed off. Sure, I've got lots of money, but hey, you expect value for money. Like he's hired these people to put on an entertaining show, and it really wasn't entertaining. The whole weekend was saved by Inoue and Ramon Cardenas. But as far as the other big names, Haney, Garcia, Canelo, it was, what's that expression you use? Pish. Um,
yeah, pure
it,
age.
it was a load of, what was the other one you used? Pony
Pony,
macaroni.
pony.
Yeah, they were terrible, Russ. They were beyond terrible. Like there are not expressions within my vocabulary to describe how pony the whole thing was. Terrible,
They're all
appalling.
pinching money, weren't they? Just having move arounds, weren't they, amongst the pals?
It was it was it was a case of ripping people off to watch very overpaid multi millionaires not even do what I would call exhibition boxing. It was it was it was the worst card, like the worst value for money card you could imagine, given the level of ratings that these fighters have. This is the cream of American boxing, and they were appallingly bad. I'm sure that you could go to a small hall show not far from where you live and watch, people who have got no records whatsoever simply put on a better performance. You are a very experienced boxing guy. You know that this is rubbish, right? That you're being
Listen,
paid to.
it was
Yeah.
like rank amateur stuff. It was so bad. I don't think the commentators knew what to say, did they? But they bullshitted the way through it. But it was absolutely atrocious.
Well, apparently the best fight on the card was the Battle of the Badges. A guy from the New York Fire Department and a guy from the New York Police Department, both amateurs who came to try and win, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, no, it's just it. I can I'm lost for words. Terrible, appalling, complete pony.
yeah. Uh, Crusher Ben now that the dust settled, he's everywhere.
Oh yes.
Formula One race, and he's at New York at Times Square show and whatnot. He's everywhere. Is he heading for a fall if he fights anybody else except Eubank?
Um, I mean, he could fight people like Lewis Crocker, Paddy Donovan.
Yeah,
That sort of British level. Um, I think as much as I have just gotten off criticizing Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, I would imagine that if he fights at that level, he will he will his weaknesses will be exposed. Um, as for yeah, I personally, as much as I actually enjoyed the Eubank Ben fight, I think that Ben has reached a ceiling, and that ceiling is not at the world level.
yeah, he's about English leveling on a good day.
Yeah, like I mean, put him in with say Lewis Crocker, who's coming
Mm.
off a well, I was going to say coming off a defeat, but obviously he's coming off a win by disqualification. But putting him in with Lewis Crocker would be an interesting, like that would be an interesting level, right?
Yeah.
Does he walk through Lewis Crocker? I don't think so. I think that that's probably his level. It is what it is. I mean, that's not hating on the guy. That's just say like he did really, really, really well against a 35-year-old weight depleted fringe world level guy who beat him.
What about Josh Kelly against Crusher Ben?
Josh Kelly wins that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh Kelly beats him.
They could fight at 154, couldn't they?
They could. I mean, 154 would be the logical place for Conor Benn to fight. Actually, I know he's talked about going back down to 147, but 154 would seem from his body structure and everything to seem to be the better division to fight at.
Yeah.
But that's a tougher road to travel on. He's going to run into problems there. Yeah, I don't know. Like the best money fight for him is probably fighting Chris Eubank Jr. again, though I personally do not want to see that fight.
Don't you?
No, I think it's better off as a one-off. I don't like the boiling Eubank down to 160. I don't think that's good. I don't actually think that's good for us as fans to be watching that, to be honest with you. I think there's an inherent danger in that. Um, and I think also that as a standalone fight, it was a great scrap. I'm not sure if a rematch will be better than or as good as. So, you know, if I was if I was in the position of being king for a day, I would say, no, you guys had a great scrap. Let's leave it there. Both of you now go your separate ways, move on and have fun.
Yeah. 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 It's a strange one, isn't it?
What
Just,
do you think?
I don't know. I see where you're coming from with your theory. But anyway, what do you think about? I mean, obviously, Ben's had the drug issues, but what do you think about Robert Smith licensing him? And then when questioning why we're giving him his license when he's not proven his innocence, saying he couldn't talk about it. So it looks like he's been got at, doesn't it, Smith? Because his stance wasn't like that a year ago, were it?
No, I would imagine, and this is one of the really big problems with the British Boxing Board of Control, which is clearly it's misnamed, is that it would appear that there is some sort of non-disclosure agreement or NDA in place which has gagged the regulator, and that makes no sense to me. I really I do not begin to understand that. So to me, this is yet more evidence for scrapping the British Boxing Board of Control and coming up with a new statutory body comprised of independent commissioners, answerable ultimately to government, but independent of government, who have the full powers of a regulatory body to oversee the sport of boxing.
Yeah, but if for Smith, for all his tough talk, ended
Oh,
up giving Ben a license, and now he's saying he can't talk about it, whereas they were going on about Ben's lot, saying they didn't have to prove anything or they didn't have to talk about their issues. Smith was saying that Ben wasn't forthcoming with the evidence, so he couldn't license him. This, that were in the early days, and they
yeah.
stood by that for obviously for 2.5 years. And then all of a sudden, from October 23 to just now April, and then all of a sudden they've given him his license, and now he's saying he can't talk about it. I mean,
That's what I
well,
mean. The
what,
board is compromised.
how can there be, how can board be governing sport if they're doing that? I mean,
Well,
and nobody's
well, they
asking the
can't.
questions, are they?
No, and they can't. I mean, it makes no sense, right? You should not be able to bind the regulator like that. It makes no sense. They've been got at. They are compromised. They are in the pockets of, however you want to describe it. They are not acting as a regulator should act. They're not. They're not. They're not fit for purpose, right? They don't do what it says on the tin. There's only so many ways to say
They
this,
don't
right?
stick
They
to
are.
their rules in Green Book. I know fighters, right, who've had British
Yeah,
title coming off losses. If you go to Green Book, that's not allowed. But then if anybody complains, because they're getting fees on night for belt, they just turn around and say, well, it's up to our discretion. So what's point in having rules then?
yeah. No, the British Boxing Board of Control needs an overhaul, root and branch, and to be reconstituted in the way that I said a few minutes ago, or in some other way that will reassure the boxing public and the betting public that we are playing with a straightforward set of rules that everybody can adhere to, that are uniformly applied, even handedly applied, and there is no shady deals being done in dark and smoky rooms, right?
Yeah,
Because at present, both the watching public and the gambling public are taking are basically, they are missing key information that they need to have about many fights and many fighters and many relationships.
yeah, it's a strange one that what the board
Yeah, for sure.
on. Very, very strange. But I think they should bring a rule out where all fighters turning pro have to go through levels. You can go,
Yeah.
you've got to go for an area belt in 10 fights, in English and or a Commonwealth in 15, and 20 fights are British, and then you should be made to try and win the belt outright. Do you know what I mean? Do it
Yeah,
traditionally
oh, for
and
sure.
let them all learn the craft.
Yeah, that was the old school way. I mean, you and I've talked about this before. Many fighters would look to a British title as being the absolute peak of the mountaintop. And when they got there, then they would then try to win the Lonsdale belts outright. Um, basically it was a tiered system, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that's, I mean, I'm going to go off topic here a little bit, but maybe the TKO Dana White thing, where they appear to be talking of like like in football, third division, second division, first division, Premiership, maybe that will go some way to satisfying what we're talking about of getting fighters to learn their craft and work their way up through these tiers. Maybe. Um, but yeah, right now it appears that the key thing is to get as many social media followers on TikTok or Instagram or whatever other ones are out there. You're talking to the wrong guy. I don't know them. But anyways, and that's more important than actually learning your craft and developing your skills as a boxer.
Yeah. Yeah. Lawrence Okolie. A lot of people are saying he's not getting his flowers. He's a two-weight world champion, WBC #1, but he can't get a fight, can he? He's wanted to risk his ranking just to get out there, but he can't get one.
Well, I mean, firstly, two-weight world champion sounds good, but it's not like he was, welterweight and then middleweight. He was cruiserweight, which is legit, but bridgerweight, like how many people were in bridgerweight, like him
Yeah,
and
I
Kevin
know.
Lorena?
I see
So
where you're
so I
coming
don't
from.
I, I don't put too much weight, pardon the pun, on bridgerweight. The other thing with Lawrence Okolie, I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful of him, but he's not actually fan friendly or entertaining to watch. He's mostly more into hugging than he is into doing anything else. He's not really entertaining, right? So I don't think that he's got a lot of I don't think he's got a lot of marketability because his fighting style is really not very watchable, to be honest with you. From my perspective, I don't know. You might have a different view, but I don't feel like, rushing home so I can watch Lawrence Okolie fight. Do you?
No, I don't. I suppose you don't. But his last two outings, he's poleaxed them, hasn't
Last two outings, yes, he has done better, but
he?
but
Yeah.
generally he's not. I don't know. He's not
Well,
captured my
we've got
imagination,
to
and
give
he's.
him a chance, haven't we, at heavyweight?
I suppose we do. But yeah, he's put him in the mix. Somebody will fight him. If he's looking for big fights, then as you and I have said before, boxing is a business, it's entertainment, and it's a sport. So, what does he bring to the table, right?
Yeah. Okay. Big Top and Eddie Hills. Do you think they're on outside looking in with Turkey?
Yeah, I think that's been the case for a while, actually. Um, I mean, Eddie Hearn has alluded to him pulling the pin in 3 to 5 years. Um, I think my own sense of it is Turkey Al Sheikh used them as as if you like doing a doing a master's degree in how to become a boxing promoter. He saw them, he saw how they operate, he's hung around with them, he's seen how they conduct business, he's absorbed a lot of this like a sponge. And I think he might now be at the stage where he's kind of looking at these guys thinking, okay, I've learned all I need to learn about the business from you guys. I kind of don't need you that much longer. It's just my sense of it. Um, and I think that, well, Frank Warren is possibly a self-correcting problem because Frank's 74 or something like that. But I think Eddie is also recognized and he's going to pull the pin. So, yeah, I don't know. 5 years' time, will those two guys still be um, key in whatever boxing is then? If I was a gambling person, I would say no.
Well, wouldn't you say Warren's got 5 more years in him? I would.
Like I say, Frank is a self-correcting problem. I mean, he's well over his three score year and 10. Who knows with Frank Warren?
He'll be another
Frank,
Bob Harriman King, him, don't Frank Warren. He'll like, well, he's, what is he, 74 nearly?
yeah,
There's
he,
another
he he
20
may
year in him.
he may or may not. I think George Warren does most of the heavy lifting in that outfit now, anyhow, right?
Yeah, well, he's a smart cookie, isn't he, George?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Frank might just become like that eminent grease, sort of like a figurehead type guy. I think George Warren is probably doing most of that heavy lifting already.
Yeah, yeah. There's no news for Derek at the moment, is there, Chisora?
No, maybe Derek Chisora will have to fight the winner of Usyk Dubois. I say that jokingly. Please do not take me seriously. God, I hope not. But nothing would surprise me. Or maybe he's a run out for Fury when Fury comes back. I mean, tell me, Russ, I know you're excited about Fury Chisora 4, right?
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I mean, you wouldn't put it
And
past them, would you?
uh, as ridiculous, as absolutely asininely stupid as it sounds, no, I wouldn't. Anything is possible. And then they will tell us that that's the best fight available.
Chisora Fury. Oh my God.
I think Fury would be the A side. So I think it would be Fury Chisora 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
God, people can say they heard it here first, eh?
Well, if they did
You heard
that,
it.
they
You,
could pull it off, saying Derek's on a good run and Tyson's on a bad run.
yeah.
And last thing you lose is your power.
Fourth time's a charm. People will say, wow, we heard it on Porky's Corner first.
Do you know when Dylan White got in ring against Fury and they said, yeah, Dylan White's a very capable fighter. You know when that line's coming out, that guy's there to lose, isn't he?
Well, didn't they say that about Tom Schwartz as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Durable. Very
Yeah,
durable,
yeah,
Tom
yeah.
Sports.
And there was another guy, Stefan Stefari or something. I can't remember even his name properly.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, please. Let's not go there because somebody might pick this up as being a good idea and take us seriously.
Okay. Well, listen, Bob, thanks for coming on.
You're welcome, Russ. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity as always. Thank you.
All right, and big shout out to Canada's boxing channel. Give him a subscribe and Andy's Cavern YouTube. All right, cheers, Bob.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Russ. Bye bye now.
Okay. Right. Well, that was Bob from Canada, where it's cold, and that's it, folks. We will see you tomorrow. Pop, pop, bang.